Hey, what's going on everybody? It's a real bro here, and today I'm bringing you a video guide on how to do Vorkath. Vorkath is one of the easiest, most consistent moneymakers in the game, and yet a lot of people are apprehensive about it because it has some mechanics that can one-hit you. But fear not, for I am here to grab your shoulders and say, you can do this boss for hundreds of kills and rake in the GP, and here is how you do it. Now, normally I don't spend any time talking about how to get to the bosses because I assume that most people already know this information, but since getting to Vorkath quickly and efficiently is part of maximizing your kills per hour, I will spend just a few little tidbits of time talking about it. But first off, for the requirements. You do need to complete Dragon Slayer 2 in order to fight Vorkath. It's not that hard, get your questing done, doesn't take a super long time. I do recommend having 75 or higher ranged defense and magic levels. This will help you with DPS and also tanking the magic hits that you will not be protecting against. Having 74 prayer with rigor unlocked will also help you tremendously in staying at Vorkath for longer trips and doing DPS with rigor. But just like anything, the higher the levels you have, the easier it's going to be, the more kills you can get per trip, yada yada yada. Getting there, there's really two methods that you can use. Again, the best method to get there is the Fremennik Sea Boots 4, but I'm going to go on a bold assumption here that you don't have the Elite Fremennik Diaries completed if you're watching this video. So we'll go with these two methods. And those two methods are either having a player-owned house portal to teleport to Waterbirth Isle or Lunar Isle, or just buying the teleport tabs from the GE and using those. A lot of people like to do the Lunar Isle teleport because you can run to the bank. That's, like 15 tiles away from the teleport or whatever. Me, I'm a chutzpah. I like to do the Waterbirth Isle teleport because I already have the portal in my house and I use it for Dagonoth Kings. And I always teleport to the GE after a trip anyways, so I'm not really missing out on that much. But it's entirely up to you. Both methods are entirely viable. They will both allow you for them generally near the maximum amount of efficiency in terms of getting there and maximizing your kills per hour. To start off my gear recommendations, don't hate me, but you got to do your pest control. You're going to want either Elite Void or Normal Void if you have not yet completed your Western Hard Diaries. The damage and accuracy bonuses that you get from Void is the entire reason why it's the best in slot here. Again, you might be slightly more accurate wearing Carol's or God D'hide, but overall, the damage bonus that you get from having the Void, it'll outweigh that Carol's and God D'hide over time. You're also going to want to have a Salve Amulet that is both imbued and enchanted. This only requires like 15 minutes of questing and a couple hours of Nightmare Zone. It's definitely worth it. You get a plus 20% damage and accuracy bonus against Vorkath when you're wearing it, and that smokes every other amulet slot item that's in this game. Lastly, for my hard gear requirements, you are going to need either a Dragonfire Ward if you can afford it, or an anti-dragon shield. You can do it with other shield slot items, it's just you're going to take a lot more damage over time, and it'll shorten your trips, and it's really not worth it. Now let's talk about what weapons you should be using. There are really only two recommendations that I can make here. If you can afford it, Dragon Hunter Crossbow, easily the best in slot here. I mean, the damage bonus is just ridiculous. I went from getting like 4-minute average kills to like 1 minute 30-second kills with the DHCB. So if you have 70 mil just sitting around, get it. It's worth it. If you cannot afford the Dragon Hunter Crossbow, then the only other weapon you should be using is a Dragon Crossbow. Now, a lot of people used to use the blowpipe method here, but since the nerf, it has just become not a viable option anymore. You're going to take more damage from his magic attacks. You're going to take more damage in general from not being able to block the Dragonfire completely. It's really not worth it. You're going to be getting like 4.5-minute kills with the blowpipe now, and that's on par with the Dragon Crossbow, so you might as well just use the Dragon Crossbow. For your inventory, there are a couple more things that are a requirement for you to bring, starting with the Slayer Staff. You're going to use the Slayer Staff to auto-cast Crumble Undead so that when Vorkath shoots the white flame special attack at you and freezes you in place, all you need to do is click on the Slayer Staff and then click on the zombie undead spawn. Saves you 1 or 2 clicks from having to pivot over to the spellbook, and manually cast the spell. The next two things that are a requirement for you to bring are a extended super anti-fire potion and an anti-venom plus potion. The extended super anti-fire potion in conjunction with the anti-dragon shield or dragonfire ward will mean that you will take 0 damage from any of Vorkath's normal dragonfire attacks. The anti-venom plus, it's pretty obvious what that's for. It's to protect you from the venom damage that you'll get from Vorkath's green venomous dragonfire attack. You can wear a serpentine helm to negate this damage as well. However, since I'm recommending you wear void, I'm going to say you also got to bring that anti-venom plus potion. For the rest of your inventory, always start in your ammo slot with Ruby Bolts E and bring Diamond Bolts E to switch to once you have Vorkath down to a little under 300 HP. This is because the Ruby Bolts special effect will do a massive amount of damage until you get to 300 HP, and then it falls off enough to where it's worth it to switch to the Diamond Bolts for their defense penetration effect. You're also going to want to bring runes to cast Crumble Undead. I personally recommend using Dust Runes, as this will allow you to put Law Runes and Chaos Runes in your rune pouch and be able to use the Home Teleport spell in addition to the Crumble Undead spell without using an additional inventory slot. To round out your inventory, you're going to want to bring a ranging potion and at least 2 prayer potions, depending on how long your kills normally take. For 4 kill trips, I can get away with 2 prayer potions. If you're using a dragon crossbow, you might want to bring 3. You also want to bring combo food, karambwans, sharks, anglerfish, manta rays, anything like that'll work. I like monkfish just because they're cheap and I don't normally take that much damage, but again, once you've gotten into it a little bit and you've started doing Vorkath, you'll know what you need to bring, and you'll get into a stride with it. As for the fight itself, before we get into Vorkath's mechanics and his attacks, I want to talk about what you should do before every trip that you start at Vorkath. Just like when you leave the house and you tap your pockets to make sure you have your wallet, your keys, and your phone, you want to check some things before you start trying to kill this dragon. You want to check your Slayer staff to make sure that your Crumble Undead spell is selected for autocast. You don't want to be caught slipping during that special attack because that little white zombie thingy will mess you up. You also want to check your quick prayers. Make sure that you have Protect from missiles and Rigor selected if you have it unlocked. This is going to help you tremendously during his pink dragonfire attack because he will turn off your prayers. All you got to do is go up there to that quick prayer button, tap it, you're good to go. The last thing that you want to check before you begin the fight is to make sure that your auto retaliate is off. I will admit that I have died to Vorkath before because I left it on and it caught me slipping. It caught me with my pants down. Don't be that guy. That's embarrassing. The last thing that I'll talk about before I start giving you my tips and trips to becoming an efficient Vorkath master is his attacks, both his specials and his normal attacks. You probably do remember them from the Dragon Slayer 2 quest, and maybe they seem daunting to you. But once you've got it all down and you've done it a couple of times, it's as easy as pie. But we're still going to go over them real quick. As for his regular Dragonfire attacks, he's got 3 of them. He uses normal Dragonfire, which is orange, pink Dragonfire, which is pink, and it also turns off your prayers, and venomous Dragonfire, which is green, and venoms you. To counter each of these, for the regular one, just make sure that you have your super anti-fire potion sipped and you're wearing an anti-dragon shield or dragonfire ward. Wham bam, you take 0 damage from that bad boy. For the venomous attack, just make sure that you have an anti-venom plus sipped. I like to wait until he actually uses that attack to sip mine, but if you want to pre-sip it before the fight begins, that's all you, man. Just remember it only lasts 3 minutes, so if your kills take longer than that, you might need to sip it twice. As for his pink Dragonfire attack, just make sure you have those quick prayers selected, Protect from missiles and Rigor. Immediately as soon as that hits you and your prayer turns off, just turn the quick prayer back on. That's easy peasy lemon squeezy, come on. Vorkath also uses a magic, a ranged, and a melee attack. Since we're doing the crossbow method here, just stay out of melee range and you don't even have to worry about that. The reason why we protect from missiles here is because he does use the ranged attack slightly more frequently, and overall, you will take less damage protecting against that attack. The magic attack should be the only form of damage that you really take throughout the fight. The last standard attack that Vorkath does, I like to call the Nuclear Bomb. Jagex calls it the Deadly Dragonfire attack, but I think Nuclear Bomb has a better ring to it. This is when he lobs a giant orange ball of fire into the air, and you have just a couple of seconds to click 2 tiles away before it slams you down back to lumberage. This may seem like a daunting attack to be up against, but remember, all you have to do is move 2 tiles away. As soon as you see Vorkath begin that animation to lob that ball of fire into the air, just click 2 tiles away. That's all you gotta do. If you think it looks like he might use it, go ahead and click away. If you're wrong, you only miss out on a few ticks of time, and unless you're super sweaty going for a speed run, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. You ensured you got the kill, you didn't die. Good on you. Vorkath will also use 2 special attacks on a 6 standard attack alternating cycle. The first one that I want to talk about is the White Dragonfire attack. That's where he shoots White Dragonfire at you, freezes you in place, and launches a zombified spawn somewhere onto the map. All you have to do is switch to the Slayer Staff, click on that zombified spawn as soon as you're able to, and that will actually buy you enough time to eat a couple pieces of food, sip a potion, whatever you need to do. I like to think of it as a little bit of a break. The other special attack that Vorkath does is that Acid Pool special phase. He'll shoot a ball of fire at you every tick of the game. You gotta keep moving. If one of those balls hits you, you'll take a lot of damage. Find 5 tiles that are open in a row with no acid on them, and just click back and forth between them. Remember that your character registers on the server 1 tile ahead of where your character is on your screen, so just constantly be clicking back and forth, and that'll let you survive that period of the fight. If you want to know how to Woox Walk, I'll talk about it a little bit at the end of the video. There'll be a chapter, I think YouTube calls them, in the description below. Just remember, don't panic, just keep moving. For my tips for surviving the fight, one thing that you can do during the special attack and phase is turn off your prayer. You don't need it, he's not going to send any attacks your way, so that'll conserve some prayer points. It'll help you stay there a little bit longer, maybe extend your trip an extra kill. You can also count his standard attacks. If you recall from earlier, every 6 standard attacks that he launches at you, he'll do 1 special attack phase. If you count those standard attacks, you can anticipate and prepare for that special phase in advance. That might help you from getting hit by the acid pool when he initially launches it, and it might help you get into a more advantageous position for the zombified spawn. This isn't really a tip or a trick per se, it's more of just a gentle, subtle confidence booster. I did die several times before I was able to start getting 4 kill trips consistently here. There's no shame in it at all. Just remember, it's learning, just like any other boss in this game. If you die, it's fine. Over time, you're still going to profit, even if you have to pay 100,000 coins to get your stuff back a couple times. They don't call this boss the Money Dragon for no reason. The money that you'll make is ridiculous, and it is definitely worth going through the process of learning it. My next tip is to learn how to Woox Walk. Woox Walking is taking advantage of the game's mechanics to save time during the acid pool phase by being able to still attack Vorkath, even while he's lobbing those dragonfire balls at you. So first things first, take notice of the tiles that I have highlighted on my screen. You're going to want to find a lane of 5 open tiles, with those highlighted tiles being the last tile in that range that you've chosen. Click on the highlighted tile, and as soon as your character gets to 1 tile beforehand, or if you have true tile indicators on, your true tile indicator reaches that last tile, click to attack on Vorkath. This will attack Vorkath and move your character back 1 tile towards him in 1 tick, preventing you from getting hit by that dragonfire while also allowing you to continue moving, not getting hit by the dragonfire, doing damage. It's pretty simple. After you've clicked on Vorkath, immediately click somewhere ahead of you in that lane of tiles so that your character continues moving. Then click on the highlighted tile and repeat the process. You can usually do this 4, maximum of 5 times during the acid tile phase, depending on how quick you are and how far you walk during that Woox Walk method. Some people call the Woox Walking method an advanced method. I really don't think it is. Again, I talk about it all the time. I'm not that good at this game. It took me probably 20 kills of trying my hardest to learn how to do it before I was able to consistently do it. Ipso facto, I still take some damage sometime. It is what it is. That's part of learning. It's part of the process. Once you've learned how to do it and you're doing it consistently, you're going to feel like a giga uber Chad at this game, and I promise you it is worth it. But that's going to be all the tips and tricks that I have for Vorkath. Vorkath is relatively simple. If you're not that great at PvM, maybe you're a little bit apprehensive about farming Vorkath. I mean, I get it. Vorkath can one-hit you with some of its attacks. But once you've done it like 10 times, it's going to be so monotonous. You're going to be here for hours and hours on end, just raking in the GP. I promise you, it is 100% worth it. If you've made it this far in the video, I do have a small favor to ask. If you wouldn't mind leaving me some feedback in the comments, let me know if I did okay on this guide, if there's anything that you think that I should change going forward, or any other tips that you have for me. I'm trying to grow as a video maker, and I have gotten a lot of great feedback from my other videos, and I've tried to tailor some of that feedback into my newer videos. I am working on a combat achievements guide as I'm making this guide right now. I kind of just wanted to make this guide because I figured I could do it in about a day, and I haven't posted anything in a week, and I'm trying to keep, video user engagement high and all that jazz. If you want to see my combat achievements guide, consider subscribing to my channel. If you liked this video, consider clicking the like button. Other than that, have a good one.